I'm so excited. My books just arrived from Amazon. So I want to talk about this one first. This is my pronunciation practice sentences for older kids, teens, and adults. You'll see it focuses on some later developing phonemes and also has topics that are more of interest to those age groups. So not the kinds of topics you find geared toward small kids. And I have the table of contents here at the beginning. And then when we jump in, we have our modern sentences first. They're broken down by the type of vocalic R variant. So there was ER, there's OR. I'm saying that, but of course they can be spelled any kind of way. And then keep going, you have AR, air, ire, things like that. And then these are modern sentences. They include references to things like social media and technology. Like there, you see I mentioned some things. Then I have a section on football. This was always something that was very popular with my students. So I talk about, I include some terms that you would hear in conversations about football, as well as some expressions. But other than that, it's laid out the same way in terms of breaking it down by the type of vocalic R variant. But then I also added a section on basketball. And in this section, you have the basketball terms. And while I did start with vocalic R variants, I also went ahead and added a section on consonantal R. That's not something I had included before. So this section has consonant R singletons, like you see at the top of that page. But then it also has consonant R blends, and then you have a dividing line into different sections. So like there's BR, DR, FR, things like that. And then if I keep going, now we have some other sounds. So there's a section on L. There's a section on SH. I believe this one has some fashion related words in it. And also for the medial SH, you have words that end with TION. Final SH. Then I have a section on S and Z, which starts off with a similar layout on the grid data sheet. But then I also have a section on how we decide whether an S that's added to the end of a word for grammatical purposes should be pronounced as S or Z. So whether to pronounce it as an S or a Z, and then a little practice activity. And I have a section here so people can also come up with their own sentences and words. So like a little data sheet you can send home maybe for summer homework or something. And then I added this new section on TH, and I have both voiced TH and voiceless TH. And then this is one of my favorite things, is my rhyme finder bookmarks. And so with these, you can cut them out. And if you write a word down on a sheet of paper, and then you put the rhyme finder bookmark either in front of the word if it starts with a vowel sound, or over the first letter of a word, if it does not, you can find lots of rhymes. For example, if I had the word tad on a sheet of paper and I'm trying to find words that rhyme with that, I can put this over the T, so I just have the AD sticking out, and then I can find, oh, bad, dad, fad, had, lad, mad. All those also rhyme with that. And then I have a similar bookmark set up for prefixes, roots, and suffixes. So you can either pair these with a word you already have written down, or just use these in conjunction with each other to slide up and down and see if you can find words. Like even just looking here, I can, this can be a reminder that capable is a word. And then I can switch them and move them around and find different things. Like if I use the Numa finder and if I put una here and I have the word, let's say bicycle, then I put this over the top, I can find that unicycle and tricycle would also be words. And then at the back, I have data sheets. So this one is my general data sheet that I use for a lot of different goals. And then I have it broken down into 3 columns. This is great for either if you're seeing 3 students at once, I just cut these apart after the session. Or if I have one student who has 3 different goals, then I can track them all on the same page without flipping through a bunch of papers. So I love that. That was so helpful in group settings or with kids with multiple goals. And then I have a chart for or a grid for how I do data in conversation for pronunciation goals, because these can be hard to keep track of in a session while you're having a conversation, also trying to take data. It's a lot harder to take data in conversation versus in a single word. But with this method, it's like almost just as easy. So I use these tally marks in these 3 different grid sections and then tally it at the end. So then you have blank copies over there. And then at the end, I have my version of how I laid out the articulation hierarchy. I call it a scorecard, and I have examples of what I mean by each level. But then when I work with students, they have a version that looks something like this, where once they have successfully passed the level with over 80% accuracy, I check it off and I check the date that they did that. And so students love seeing their progress in this way, because before, a lot of them felt like when they get out of speech therapy seems kind of arbitrary and at my whim. But when they see it this way, they know we're working towards something. It's more apparent to them, and it helps them see and keep track of and take responsibility for working toward that themselves. And then also students find that for some things we're able to move through pretty quickly and not spend as much time on it because they've done the precursor work. So I love this. There's a blank copy in there, and that's what's included in the book. So this is from Amazon. I got this nice hardback copy. Amazon also has the soft cover, but in my Teachers Pay Teacher stores and my Etsy stores, I have this as an ebook, which is great if you just want to print out the pages that you need. There are so many pages in here. Let me go back to the table of contents so we can see how many pages total. So yeah, so 94 pages in there. I highly recommend this. I use these all the time. This is one of those things that you invest in and then you just have it and you use it with so many different students. I've used sentences from here with junior high students, so that's students in like 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, all the way to some of my accent modification clients who are college students, graduate students, professionals working in their careers. I tried to make the sentences really general and things that, as long as you're not like a little kid, like they're things that we all kind of talk about in terms of fashion and sports and technology. So highly recommend it.